my med my meditation, I get to really feel my well. And so when I walk out into the world, I can walk out from a full space and get infinitely of myself and allowing myself to have a more broad perspective on how life presents itself. And whether it be challenging moments or conversations or blissful experiences, like realizing that everything that comes to you or that allows you to have an experience in your daily walk is a gift. And that's why people talk about like gratitude is so important. And it's not about being like in a false reality, like I'm just grateful for everything. It is kind of like that, but it's not a false reality. It's not bypassing anything. It's just really realizing that you're so deep within the wisdom within yourself that you can see the gift of what's being presented, no matter what it looks like. You know, there was a day a couple weeks ago where I went out, I had a bunch of things to go do, and I walked out, and everything I was doing was like on a time scale. And I had actually left my keys in my Jeep, and they were like halfway turned on because I had to roll the windows down for Spirit the night before. And my battery's dead, And so I don't go into space like, oh my God, I got to get to all these appointments. It was like, there's a reason why there's a delay. I wonder if I'll see it throughout the day. I wonder why I'm being called to delay my movement, you know? And so I approach it with a space of curiosity. And it could be that, it could be meeting a brand new friend as I walk out my door. It doesn't matter what situation presents itself. I have no judgment on anything being good or bad. It's recognizing it's always happening for your own evolution. And it could be a deep teaching, it could be a minuscule teaching, could be just be able to like honor like communication if you're meeting somebody new. Um, but time and time again, as I've been connected to my heart space and my intuition, there's so many times I've been guided in my daily walk to either not do something I had planned or like detour, like, no, don't go here, turn left on the next street. It happened just not going to the store. Like I was going to turn right and it's like, nope, go on the next street. Do I know why I'm going on the next street? No. Am I questioning or concerned about it? No. I'm just feeling called to not turn on the street and only do I'm turning on the next street. Who knows why? But that space of trusting life allows me to come in and allow that guidance to be trusted always because there's so many times in my life where it's been on point 100% of the time. 100%. Nothing in my life has ever been that way except my internal guidance. And it's been moments of just profound understandings around, oh, wow, that's why this happened an hour ago, or that happened yesterday, or why I'm being called to be here in this moment compared to planning to be here yesterday at this time. Um, and so it just happened so many times that there is no doubt in my mind around that, or I don't get into some analytical choice around, yeah, but if I turn here, it's going to be a shorter drive. I might save some gas. Like, I don't get into any of that. It's just like, oh, I'm not feeling guided to do that. And the more you can release the need to know why, you'll find out why, right? And so it's just coming back to understanding everything in your life is happening for you, never to you, never against you. And even though you might have heard me say this many times or other teachers talk about this, like it is not some like trying to be Mr. or Mrs. Optimistic about life. It's like really understanding how life works. Like the whole experience of your soul coming to human form is for you to evolve and your soul to evolve. And depending on what you believe, like every lifetime we go through, our soul evolves to the next understanding of its true essence of who and what it really is, which is truly divinity of source or God or spirit, or whatever reference you want to have for that. And so being able to come back to that center, everything in life is happening to bring you back to center of self, to have that moment of realization, whether it be in small conversations or a moment that happens at boom sometime in your life and it's your great awakening or whatever you want to call it. Um, so it all begins with like coming back to like the faith and trust in life and my faith is so strong because it's always shown up. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, faith can be referenced. One thing is like, believing in things unseen. Um, but it's not really blind faith. It's just like that space has been so on point every moment of my life that there's nothing about myself that could ever not trust it, you know? So that's what like this week is really about. And if we don't have a practice, it's a lot more challenging to come into that space before you walk into the world. And it's so much more than just self-love and self-care. It's being able to like really be being in the deepest authenticity with yourself and integrity with who you are, to where no matter what happens in the world, somebody comes and yells at you, you know, or anything that happens that might be a challenging moment in your day, like you're so able just to be in your being and be true to you and navigate those moments. And whether somebody says things that are not nice to you or nice, like not having a reaction to it, like maybe that what they're saying is true. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's also their perspective, and like also giving that credit, like a space of curiosity. Maybe that's their reality as far as what they're speaking to you, rather than being defensive about it. I mean, these we could talk about infinite amount of possibilities of how this shows up in life. But the only thing that you have any control over is being able to be centered in your being and trusting life, and like and trusting you. I'm not asking you to trust anything outside of yourself. I'm talking about trusting like that internal guidance, like Amy talking about the story, like you really felt called to rest, and so you canceled tomorrow's appointments or your day to rest. You listened to that calling. Um, I mean, it reminds me of many stories where like I'll wake up in the morning sometimes. I mean, this is rare, but and I'll get guidance like, no, you need to stay in bed. I'm like, oh, I have things to go do. And like, no, you need to stay in bed for like another hour or so. I'm like, but I have these appointments to get to, and I'll stay in bed. I'll trust that guidance, and then when I finally get up and look at my phone, like those appointments that I had either rescheduled, not because I missed them, but because either they had something come up or things got pushed or calls got canceled, like so that time was created for me to rest anyway. So I trusted it. I didn't think about all the things like, yeah, but if I do this, I'm going to be late for that, or did I get into that headspace? And it really frees you and allows you to take all that mental energy that you would normally use for those processes and like direct them somewhere else, um, and come back into your center. So I could talk on hours for this. So I'm just going to give you that small snippet. But the YouTube video tonight or the YouTube video that I'm recording is a workshop that I teach. It's not going to do the whole workshop on the video, but the title of it is that, and it's "You're Being Used, You Tool," and it's understanding like we are literally a tool of consciousness or of spirit or of God, and with our divine gifts, we're being put in places and moments to either show up in a physical way, hold space, offer our truth, and do something. Because know that that ability to do that in that moment that's guided by your intuition is only going to help consciousness evolve itself. And so it's this beautiful giving and receiving relationship. And so recognizing that, we live in a yes universe. We live this energy of who we are is called unconditional love. And, that's what, we go really deep into it for a moment, but the Buddha, the Bodhisattva, like what he taught was third dimensional awareness, is what we just completed in 2012. Was completing the evolution of the third dimension, and the goal of the third dimension was for consciousness to become aware of itself, and that's what the Buddha taught. He taught third dimensional awareness. He taught that everything we are is connected to this one energy. His teachings are so much more deeper than that, but in a gist of a summary, that's what he taught. Then you had somebody like Jesus the Christ come, and he taught fourth dimensional awareness. He's like, now that you understand that everything's connected to this one energy, the software of this energy is unconditional love. In fact, it's an energy always giving back to itself. And so all these great teachers we can mark on the planet, they're all been teachers of consciousness and the evolution of our being and how we evolve as souls in human form. And so that's what the Jesus Christ was teaching. But to understand this thing we call unconditional love, it's not so much about being like, oh, I love you and want to give you a hug and be kind and compassionate, which is beautiful. That's an expression of it. But it's understanding it's an energy that's always giving back to itself, always, and it's in everything. It's how the plants behind Elizabeth work. It's how your body works. If you cut your skin, your body begins to unconsciously love itself, and with a week later, that scar or that cut is no longer there. It's our natural state of being that we have no ability to shift because it's just who we are, and it's our natural state. And so, in this unconditional love of energy, understanding how it works, like we call it unconditional love, other planets might call it something else, but the fact is, we call it unconditional love. But understand the real description of how this energy works. It's always nurturing its own evolution. And so how this works through intuition is, if you think about, like, use analogy, is that if you have a moment, like it's birth, and if you think of it like a bubble, everything in that moment has exactly what it needs to complete itself. I know that that moment that's being birthed, whether in your life or somebody else's, is happening so consciousness can evolve itself. And so how it shows up, the X factor to that moment is you. Meaning, how are you being called to show up? Are you being called to, as I mentioned, offer some physical support, energetic support, offer your truth, like hold space for somebody, take an action, like whatever it is. And by that happening, that moment completes itself. And in a logical understanding or theory, that bubble kind of floats up to consciousness and allows consciousness to expand more into a deeper version of what itself than it was the moment before. And so by doing that, like that, then consciousness gives back to you. Because when you fully live in your divine purpose or your soul's purpose or through your heart space of your intuition of your soul's calling, like it nurtures, it gives you everything that you need to express your divinity at your most highest peak, whether it be financial support, friendships, relationships, experiences. And it serves you because you're serving it. And so when you make that commitment to yourself to show up in that way, to be present in the moment and offer like what it is from your intuitive space that you might call your heart, like that's allowing consciousness to evolve itself. And then therefore it gives back to you. So that's the relationship. That's what this life is about. Don't put an exclamation point on that, but like that is like one of the keys of how to navigate this life. That's why we're teaching the Diamond Heart Project. And so when I talk about the title, like you're being used, you tool, it's referencing like you're being used in a beautiful, beautiful way as a tool of consciousness. You know, maybe you heard me tell the story before. It's like, I was in a supermarket and this is like 10 years ago. And the woman, and as I'm standing in line, I get a message that tell the woman in front of you that her mom loves her blue dress. I'm like, what? Tell the woman in front of you that her mom loves her blue dress. So in that moment, I'm being used as a tool. So when she gets done with her checking out, I said, ma'am, I just wanted to share something with you. Are you open to that? She said, yes. And I said, well, my message for you is that your mom loves your blue dress. She immediately dropped to the ground in tears. What I didn't know is that she was at her mom's funeral the day before and she wore a blue dress. And so that moment of delivering that message helped her evolution in some way, shape, or form, whether she needed to believe that her mom is still with her, whether it's her understanding of the afterlife, whether it's mending relationship between her and her mother. I don't know. It's not important for me to know. It's more important, it's important for me to do my action that I'm called to do in service to source. And that moment helped, again, the evolution of source expand further in a conscious level by her awakening or whatever needed to happen for her. So that is a perfect like microcosm of the teaching I'm trying to offer you tonight around the workshop of you're being used, you tool. Um, and so when you come into align with your heart and your intuition and your inner guidance, like that's how it works. And you begin to walk into every day like Christmas morning. I don't know if you celebrate that or practice that, but the point is like every day is like you walk down the stairs into the Christmas tree and there's a bunch of presents with wrapping and you don't know what's in the box. But you know you're going to be presented with a bunch of gifts throughout the day that you can show up for. And how are you going to show up for those? And know that that work you're doing on a daily basis is a huge impact on the quantum field if you want to look from a science perspective, conscious expansion of source, God, like whatever reference you want me to put it in as terms or language, it's all the same thing. But this is like how the divinity of relationship works. And therefore, like we're supported. Like, what do we need? So then you go to your practice and you're like, hey, I really want to call in more support of resources or call more support of a relationship, or I want to call more supportive experiences in life, and it's like, oh, well, and just like a parent wants to give you everything that you need or want, so then you can be a more true expression of who you are. And that's how the relationship works. That's the whole reason we're doing this whole thing. That's basically going to be the video. So you just received it now live. Um, so that's where we're coming from today, and it's one of the greatest teachings I love to offer in my life, and so I really wanted to be centered when I offer the video. So again, I apologize about not it being posted yet. Um, so yeah, is there any questions? Or anybody wants to share anything in that moment about any of that?
I have a question, but it's not about that.
Okay.
Your volume went down and then it went back up again. Are you using an external microphone?
No.
Okay. That was really strange. Maybe it was my computer. I don't know. But I had to like turn it way, way up. And then suddenly you were really, really loud. So
Maybe it's something that part you needed to hear.
perhaps.
Just kidding.
Thank you for saying that because I thought I was going crazy. So that
Oh,
that happened for sure for me too.
okay. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, so that was the first topic in the email. The step two, like these calls can be just a lot more than me just revamping the email. I just do that to give us kind of a format for the call. But anything that wants to be talked about outside these topics can be talked about as well. These are the integration calls we have for the week, for you to bring to the table to get clarity or ask questions or receive support or whatever it is. Um, Step two on the email was that I started a Clubhouse room on Clubhouse. I used to have a room on Clubhouse called Conscious Cambo, which where we did a lot of integration work for people that did sat with Cambo. I'm gonna believe I'm started doing again called Conscious Cambo Reset. Um, so yeah, either way, I started a room called the Diamond Heart Project. Come home to yourself on Clubhouse. It's on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Doesn't mean you guys have to join it. It's just it's more of like an open forum. On the back end, it's an open forum to like get people interested in maybe doing the Diamond Heart Project program. And I don't know if you know what Clubhouse is. Does anybody not know what Clubhouse is?
Is it like school?
Or do you own it? No, Clubhouse is an app, and it's an app that basically have live podcasts happening all the time
Hmm.
around the world. It's an international app. It's not just for the States, it's for all countries, and there's anything's happening in every language you can plug into. And it's around anything: spirituality, crypto, music, videos, investments, cooking, whatever topic you want to investigate. You can open the app and just punch in kitchen or punch in cooking or punch in spirituality, and like they will show you what rooms are open, happening conversations about those topics at that moment. And so it's like there's always a host, but it's an open room. There's no video. You're just on the phone, and it's basically like, sometimes there's two people in the room, sometimes there's 100, 500 people in the room. And so people voice whatever they want. Some people ask questions, some people open topics, but it's open. It became really popular in club like during COVID. That's where Clubhouse really took a big boom. There was rooms of 500,000 people at a time, with all different topics on there, people having discussions and sharing, and it's basically a live podcast. So it's Clubhouse. It's a
Is
free
that
app. You can download it. Just you don't have to do a picture. It's just a thumbnail of your name or whatever it is you want to put, so you can be on calls without having to worry about what you look like or anything else. Um, so yeah, Clubhouse.
is it on like in the Play Store or something? The link that got sent on the text thread, when I click on it, it gives me an error message. So is it
Yeah, it
also
could
in
be
the
in any app.
Telegram?
No, it's not in Telegram. It's in the email though.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll go back and look at that.
So yeah.
So
So
there's a
it's a cool spot, huh?
there's a song called "Come Home to Yourself." Can I post that song to that?
Sure.
I'm not kidding. Someone wrote it. So when you said it, I thought of it.
Yeah, and one of my teachers had a podcast this week, and a person he had on there is like she's doing a program called "Come Home to Yourself." My saying is "Come on home to yourself," so it's a little different, but same statement. And so the step three in the email was to practice the 4-7-8 breath work. This is not from Unity. I'm sure she would validate this or approve of it. But there was something I was studying around lengthening your life, and it talked about how the animals like that have a shorter breath pattern have shorter lives, and the animals that have longer breath patterns have longer lives. And they've done studies around it, around people. And so this practice is having a 4-7-8 breath, meaning the fact that you inhale for 4 seconds, hold for seven, and then you exhale for eight. And by that time, that's 20 seconds. That means you'll take three full breaths in a minute. And it's shown that like you could add 30 to 40% length on your life if you end up teaching your system how to breathe like 3 to 5 times a minute instead of most. I mean, they talked about this America wise that most Americans take, up to 100, like up to 70, 80 breaths in a minute, which is a lot, or at least minimum of a 30 to 40. And it's a lot. And so they talked about the animals like elephants and other animals that take these very long, lengthening breaths also have these very long, lengthening lifetimes, you know. Um, So that's why I'm referencing the 4-7-8 breath. Again, 4 seconds inhale, 7 seconds hold, and then 8 seconds exhale at a very slow rate. Um, of course, that's something you can probably do like if you're in a busy situation doing something, but like in your practice, in your car, like in your yoga practice, like watching a video, movie, like you can focus on all of that, if you want anytime. Also call the loop back around to mindful eating. There I was a good, I got some good reminders come up last week for myself around how important it is like chew 20 times. Don't have to, but like help digest the food because a lot of the acidic in your saliva begins the digestion process. And like when we work with the ayahuasca, like I have people like allow the chocolates to melt in the mouth before they swallow, to let the absorption start, and it seems to activate the medicine a lot quicker. But he talks about digestion again, letting your digestion work less also improves like the lengthening of life. Maybe we're not trying to lengthen your life. I don't know. But the point is like all these things help improve the quality of your life if you want to in any given way. Um, and they were talking about how like they've noticed that the people that live the longest are like in Japan, and they were studying that this is one thing they do. They chew 20 times. There's a law. I don't know if you know that about Japan, but there's a law around that you can't be obese. Like they have a law that if your waist is over like a certain amount of measurement, then the company you work for gets fined by the government. And so it's the company's responsibility to make sure you're healthy. I know that in Japan and China, the doctors actually get paid to keep you healthy. They don't get paid to make you sick. And so the less sick patients you have, the actual more you make, which is really interesting. Um, so yeah, so one thing they do to keep, it wasn't about weight loss, but to keep like their system at a more optimal level is they eat up to until 80% full, not 100% full. And of course, like eating more whole foods, and I think we all focus on those kind of things, less processed. They also talk about how the people in Japan like walk, 500 to 1,000 or 500, sorry, 5,000 or 10,000 steps a day. They bike and walk everywhere a lot, and it's important for us to do that. And so yeah. If you are a big walker or you like to exercise walk, they were talking about like an elevator advanced practice of that is like where you walk at a fast pace for 3 minutes and then you walk at a slow pace for 3 minutes. Fast pace 3 minutes, slow pace 3 minutes. And thinking that that isn't as big as running, but actually the way it can work with your metabolism, your natural ability, kind of like your natural body rhythm, it can impact you more than actually going for a run. So it's really, really beautiful. And last couple announcements were about like Chris is hosting I for a 3-day retreat in Portland. Elizabeth will be there. We talked last night, and uh, and so it's great to see her. And if anybody else feels called to go, um, it's a 3-day of medicine work, organic food. Inanna's not coming. Um, she'll be with her son, and
That's
teaching yoga and meditation.
who's cooking?
Huh?
Who's cooking?
Your apprentice.
My apprentice?
Yeah.
Who's my apprentice? Unity?
Me.
You?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why you've been asking me for all the recipes. You're practicing in the kitchen. So that means you're gonna make the salads yourself.
Yeah, those are the best. The quinoa salad and all of that, cilantro. So yeah, and I'll get some more tips from you at the end of next week when you're here. Um, but yeah, I mean it's not like the retreat like we're offering up here in Ashland like next week. It's much more intimate and like nice and um, yeah. I mean, not that the one here isn't nice. It's just there's a lot of energy in the one we do here in Ashland, and Anna knows because she does all the cooking and stuff. This really feels more like settled and soft and gentle. So that's happening. If anybody on the call feels called to be there, I guess I'm speaking to you, Amy. Like we can work something out. Whatever it is to get you there. If you feel called to be there, whether you want to come for one night or you want to like, whatever it is, like meaning we can work something out financially and that kind of stuff. Like I never allow that to limit us doing the inner work. We can work something out. It's all good. Um,
Thank
but if
you.
you feel called to be there, then let's talk about being there.
I'm considering it. There's a timing thing that I feel like right now my thought processes are super linear because I've been having to save up for this trip that I'm taking this coming week. I'm getting some dental work done, and my dentist is in Santa Cruz, so I've been putting my pennies together so I can go get a crown because I need a new crown. And the timing of it is like, oh, it's so soon after that. I don't know if I can swing it time off of work type thing, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit with it some more and see what comes to me.
Cool. Well, it's 6 through the 8, so it's Sunday through Tuesday. And so like, and I'm sure you have Sundays off, so you could always come up for Sunday and sit with Cambo and ayahuasca the first day and then come back Monday. Just take one day off if you wanted to.
I actually
I'm not
work
trying to tell you how to
Sunday
do
and
your schedule.
Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
So the Monday is the day I would have off, but again,
Oh,
it's kind of I literally feel like I have to get over this first hurdle because I'm getting fitted for the crown and I've got to go back 3 weeks later to get the permanent one. So
okay, cool.
I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Cool.
I would love to, but I'm also looking at August. So
Okay,
August
cool.
might be a lot more practical for me.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, if you came to that one, you came Monday, you'd have to take Tuesday off anyway, so you're gonna take a day off no matter what. Just FYI. So cool. And yeah. The step 6 was about, we have 2 more weeks of our program. And not that I'm bringing it to close anytime soon. And there's going to be a Facebook alumni group that will, the Diamond Heart Project alumni group that we can be on to still communicate, and all of the apps and that kind of stuff will be presented. But the next launch of the program will be August 1st. We'll be launching the first like paid subscription paid subscription program. People are paying a monthly fee to be part of the program. It's a 12-week program compared to the 8. And I'm just so grateful for like all that you've all contributed and continue to contribute to the program right now. It's helped me really like calibrate and scope it around what's needed, and creating some accountability tools that Inyan has presented, and to help people keep more accountable with their practices, and a platform that we'll have where like all of the things that we do will be on one platform, like the videos, the emails. You won't have to go to Telegram, YouTube, and like all these places. It will be like you log in and there's everything for the week, including these live calls. So if you know of anybody that comes up to you, that comes to you that might benefit from this program or maybe interested in it, please, connect us on like a group text introduction. And if you feel you've impacted anything or received any kind of impact from the program, I'd love to receive a testimonial, not today or tomorrow, but in a couple weeks after we complete the program. But also like referrals, everything I've done for the past 10 years is referrals. I believe every one of you has come through a referral. And so this is how I operate. I don't do a lot of marketing. Elizabeth through Chris, and Nana through Unity, and Amy through Rico. And so you all come through referrals. And so this is how I operate. But this is the first time, not first time, but this is where I'm starting to ask for them. And so I put that in the email. If anybody that you want to refer doesn't have to be committed to doing the program, just means they want to get more information, whether it be medicine work or the Diamond Heart Project. Like it's never about like you can't connect them until like they want to do it. That's not how it works. Like just somebody who wants more information. I do information calls every day with people, and I love doing them. So just know that's there, you know. And that's about it for the coverage of the email information. Yeah. Somebody have any questions, anything you want to share about their week or their day?
I'm back to cold plunges.
Nice.
That's that's something's happening again. Sorry, my phone keeps doing the thing, it turns my video off and I just realize it does it by itself. I don't even do it.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I'm kind of starting to do my practices back up again after feeling sick and stuff. So it's kind of going back into routine. So it's nice to come back to it. I wanted to ask a question. Do you offer for people to come back to this program to see the improvements and experience or it's going to be the same thing exactly?
You mean the next program?
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be different. I mean, it's gonna be tailored more. It's always tailored to the group, you know. There'll be some new suggestions, recommendations, teachings, Maybe some things that weren't that were offered here won't be offered next, and some new things. It's also a longer program, so it's 12 weeks, so it's designed a little bit different.
Mm.
One of them is the fact that like we're gonna have a ceremony in the middle of the 12 weeks, where everybody comes together who's in the program to do work together, rather than people just jumping into ceremonies when they're available. So that's one part of it. And then the January launch will be the full 16-week program. This program is designed to be 16 weeks from the beginning. And so the one we're doing now is the beta version that we're only doing 8 weeks to see how it unfolds and work out the kinks and that kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, in fact, I had a conversation with somebody who's working with me on marketing around like, okay, what's the next advanced training they're going to do? I'm like, well, haven't thought about that. Um, but yeah, but you're more than welcome to be part of the next program for sure. You know, I know there's some people like, and I've been talking to Cecile around her joining the next one as well. Um, so yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'm just curious what's the difference between this and what it's coming up as a real thing.
Yeah. I mean, I would have to say if might not be that different once the 16-week program is fully running and operable like next year. Might be pretty, it's not going to be, what do you call it? Like, you know, cookie cutter at all. It changes for like what the group needs. And I set my practice each day and call for the what information wants to be shared into the group and hey, clarity, all that. Just like, this intuitive based program. And so like none of it's been logically created. Everything that I've done, even the past year, like when I started creating the program, I would get a guidance on what tasks to do for that day. I wouldn't be given a task the next day. I would be given a task for that day, and I would do that task. And the next morning, I would meditate, and it would tell me what tasks to do the next day. So it's like, and that's the guy was like, if you're designing an intuitive-based heart program, why would we give you an analytical process of creating it? We're going to give you an intuitive-based process to create it because that's what you're teaching. So I feel it really helps keep the authenticity of the frequency or energy of this program alive by doing it that way. So do I think it's going to be different? Yes. Do I know how it's going to be different? No. Um, so, but the one thing is different is like that program you talked about, on that Trevo or Trello like app where we're gonna have put people on like an app where I can check in on the back end around like what their practice is or what they got accomplished for the day, and then follow up with them and see where I can support them with that. Like that's going to be a big difference in it, first of all.
So you're including that? Is that something gonna work out?
Yeah,
Or
I'm talking to Trevo or Trello about like, putting 20 memberships and then assigning them out for people when they're in the program and then like collecting them at the end of the program. And if they want to continue working with that like accountability app, then they can log in and pay that themselves. That's also why like, there's a cost to this 12-week program
Mhm.
or like monthly membership. Because there's going to be a lot more costs that I need to take on to support the process.
It's awesome. I'm glad it's gonna work out.
Thanks. Thank you. Anybody else have anything you want to share? No?
I'll
Anybody?
share.
Okay.
Trying to feel, yeah, this week is flowing. I think, yeah, what you shared is what I'm working on. I feel way more connected to my breath this week, which helps, and had some body work today and really explored the breath. So that was interesting. Like what came up was really helpful, and how to notice like what parts of my body my breath is connected to and what parts it's not. So it's really insightful.
Mm.
And
Did you
yeah,
do the 4-7-8 breath work or you did your own different types of
I
style?
did my own.
Okay.
This wasn't really breath work at all. It's more it's kind of more Western based, like pelvic floor physical therapy, but the guy who does it is just really um like not a typical doctor sort of thing, where he just his insights and the way he shares and works is like super helpful, like not what you would normally expect
Yeah.
from that sort of work. So, and I just found him through this random, right? Like one of those like follow
Random.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like it was so wild how I got to him. So it made me, as I'm feeling more connected to my breath, like thinking of doing Unity's recordings. So I just like couldn't do it for a while. So it feels good as I'm kind of coming back to these practices as well. Like I know that feeling, it feels more accessible, and that feels
Mhm.
really, really like hopeful.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. Well, cool. Yeah, there's a breath work tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. So far, I think she's going to be leading it. Not think I haven't heard that she's not. So she'll be there. I'll be there. Um, yeah, and that's about it for the night.
Is there breath work tomorrow? Or no, that's
Yeah,
Monday.
6 a.m.
Same. Okay. Well, for you guys. Okay.
3 a.m. for you.
Yeah, I got it. Fun. I love waking up at 2 in the morning.
Gosh, how do you do that? I don't know if I could do that and then function.
Because I didn't do it all the time, so I can't do it all the time. But what I can, it works out. I just
Yeah.
have to go to sleep super early.
Yeah.
But then if I don't get to, then I'm screwed. It's hard. Then I
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah. But then do you go back to sleep?
Um, there was moments I didn't. But I just my day kept going, and then there's moments I did. It just depending of how my body. I'm just listening to my body. So
Yeah.
my body is going now. Well, sometimes, honestly, I fell asleep during. So if anybody heard me snoring,
You're muted,
that,
right?
huh?
You're muted, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It wasn't that easy. It was a hard 8 weeks, 7 weeks of trying to.
Did anyone get to the coffee enema? Has anyone tried that yet? Yeah. You just don't just doesn't feel appealing to you, do you think it's something I should do like as a group so we everybody involved?
Well,
Not this group, but I'm just saying I'm
I'm
getting feedback for like the next groups.
I'm coming next week so you can demonstrate. I
Oh
could
yeah.
actually see it. I need the visual, it doesn't connect in my brain, verbal versus visual.
Well, I'll show you the equipment.
Well, I see it. It's always hitting my head in the kitchen. It's not. I sometimes have to think about it where it was when it's on top of my head.
It's clean. I hang it up when it's clean. Yeah.
Well, my mind goes the way places, when I think about it. But anyway, yeah, I hope I will, by the time I get there, it will happen for me.
Cool. I mean, the whole DHP isn't about like the coffee enema, but it is like it's also I kind of push sometimes to get people out of the comfort zone a little bit. Um, I was that way with it too. I was like, for a long time, and I did. I was like, wow, this is really like amazing. And then when that naturopath said, yeah, this is all like being explained all the things it does to your system, um, on like you're able to get like as I mentioned, like if you're a coffee drinker, like I'm not a coffee drinker, but when you do, like based on digestion, you lose a lot of these really important, let's not call them enzymes, but molecules in coffee that really help your system. And so by doing the coffee enema, you're getting it into your liver, into your kidneys, like through the bottom up. Um, and it really has the ability to make an impact on your organs. Um, so yeah. So yeah, if anybody has bacteria in their liver, the first thing the naturopaths recommend, or the naturopaths I know, is coffee enemas. You know. So all right. So unless anybody has anything more, we'll go ahead and close.
A quick question, because I admit I've been sort of hyper focused week to week. Whatever I'm doing and trying to bring it all together, and I forgot about coffee enema. I'm not opposed to it, but I haven't gotten to it. Were there instructions on how to do the coffee part of it? I mean, are you just brewing coffee and then utilizing the enema kit?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely get some like really good organic coffee. You don't have to
I'll
buy
just
like a whole pound of it. Just get a small amount of like really good coffee that's not doesn't have mold in it. That like is guaranteed that it's, like there's not one certain coffee brand I recommend. There's just like certain brands that I choose from. Like when I go to the co-op, I trust the co-op, and so I go there. Um, but yeah, I brew like a liter of coffee. I do the pour over method, and so I pour over the coffee like a French press, and I make like a liter of it. And I also boil hot water, and so I have 1 liter of coffee and I have 1 liter of sterilized water. And of course, I let it cool. I do it the night before. And then, when the first fill, I do 3/4 of the water and I receive that, let that process. Sometimes, like, I'll get in an inverted position, like whether I'm in like a down dog or a position where I'm like on my back and I put my feet up on like something and lift up, trying to get my hips inverted, to try to get like all the liquid up to up in my intestines and colon as far as I can go. And then when you feel called to release, you release. You get up and you release it. The second round is then I do 3/4 of the coffee. And usually when I do that, I will lay on my right side, like in a fetal position, so my liver can really get the coffee, and do that process. And then, of course, get up and release that. And then the third round is I combine the water and the coffee, all that's left over, process probably some in the bin that I didn't get in yet. So, do a little combo mix action of all of it. And then that time I usually lay on my left side. I mean, my right side for my liver the second time, third time I lay on my left side for my kidneys, even though I know my kidneys are both places. But the point is like on my left side just to get that side of my body. And sometimes I go inverted, who knows? Like I know people who do headstands, like yoga headstands while they're doing it. I've done that sometimes, and when you do a colonic or not, when you do like the colon therapy, like it has a pressure to it, so it's able to get up in there further. When you're doing the enema, it doesn't have pressure, it just has gravity. And so I try to help that, and then release it, and then you're done, you know.
So
And
is this written as you've explained it just now?
no, but it'd be cool if you wrote it down.
Well, I was going to say you're recording this, so I'm going to remember to go back
Oh,
to,
cool. Yeah.
you know,
Um,
minute.
Then yeah, and then I immediately like pour like I boil water and I pour a pitcher of boiled water through the enema kit just to get it all. There's no bacteria in the enema kit, but I'm trying to get all like the coffee and everything out of the tube.
Sure.
The end of the tube does not like the tube that carries the water is not the tube that goes in you. Like there's an extension at the end. I have this orange extension that's like a foot long. That's um, feels almost like a little rubber balloon that like and that part detaches, and that's the part that I like sterilize in the dishwasher afterwards. And then I flush the enema kit with the boiled water, and then I hang it up in my kitchen, like Inanna's talking about. And so that's the process. Yeah.
So which non-mold coffee do you buy at the co-op?
Um,
Because a
depending,
lot of them don't say they're certified free of mold, you know?
yeah, it depends on which ones are on sale. So I mean, I again use my intuition
Mhm.
and pick out which one I feel called to, and it's never the same.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, but yeah. I also make a little bit of it. Like I don't need to buy like $20 with a can of coffee. I just buy like, I use 4 scoops, 4 cups, not cups, but 4 like tablespoons when I make my French press. And I do the coffee enemas, like I try to do them once a week, you can do them whenever, but like, yeah, they're
Yeah,
great. And I put down a couple towels because it's gonna be messy.
of
It's
course.
not. Um, so yeah, so put down a couple towels and I usually put on some kind of spiritual teaching when I'm doing it so I can just lay there and meditate and process. And sometimes it's really uncomfortable, sometimes it doesn't, it's not, but it's just it's a beautiful practice, you know.
Okay.
And
Thank
so
you.
I do a cop I do actually I do half an hour of a my process is like, well, I do meditation, Kundalini, and then I move into castor oil pack on my liver, where I take a felt pad or like a felt piece of felt, and I soak it in castor oil, and I put that over my liver, and I put a hot pad on it to get all the castor oil into my body. And then I go right into the coffee enema, and then right from the coffee enema I go to the cold plunge. So if
Okay,
it's the combo day, then I go right to combo after the cold plunge. So boom, 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 boom.
yes.
If I don't have combo, then I usually go for a run because your coffee's going to give you that energy, but not like coffee energy. It's just going to give you this really like nice, sustained like energy, you know. So that's my process. Yeah,
Thank you.
cool. You're welcome. All right. Anybody else? Okay. All right. So we're ready to close. All right. Let's be ready. Inhale your hands overhead. Bring your hands to heart space. Offer 3 ohms to close the practice. I'll close the call. Receive a breath. Om. 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 Just bow your chin in honor of you, your devotion, dedication, and discipline to your self-love self-care practice. Shila Wakatonkwashte. Aho Matakasan. Amen. Amin Ashe. Aho Ane Shalom. Lamahalo. Satnam. Namaste. All right. Blessings, everybody. Good to see you tonight. Thank you for your time.